Welcome back, everybody, to today's episode of La Gringa y la Chapina. It's August 16th, 2024. I am Hadley. I am La Gringa. And we have
Hola, hello everyone. It's me again, Zayra Ivette Padilla, La Chapina.
Hello. So Zayra and I talk every day or almost every day about immigration issues. We've been working in the field for 2 decades and have more than 7,500 clients in all realms of immigration, work, humanitarian, removal proceedings, family. And we didn't plan to have a podcast today, but we have exciting news about what is now being called by the USCIS the I-131F. When we've been talking about this in earlier podcasts, we were calling it Biden parole in place. Now we're calling it the I-131F. And this is the relief that President Biden announced on June 17th, 2024. And we are here with the WWH, the what, why, when, and how of the I-131 to give you guys our take on what's going to happen on Monday. So, Zayra, have you read the guidelines that were posted today? You haven't had time to
No, I haven't had a chance. I was going to, but then I was like making phone calls.
Yeah.
But yes, it's exciting news about that we have more information regarding the Monday filing.
Yeah. And when I said we want to talk about the WWH, I want to talk about the what are you waiting for? First W. Second W, why you need an attorney. Third W, when you can file and how. So let's go over the first one. What are you waiting for? Hey guys, what are you waiting for? This is going to help you. It does not matter what's going to happen in the election. In fact, I recommend that you get this filed before the election. And one of the most important pieces of this guidance, Zayra, this is really great news. I don't think we've talked about it yet. But if you have a removal order or any other negative equity, they're allowing us to argue it in a waiver style. So if the rules say, and we knew this already, or the guidelines said, if you're a priority for enforcement, then you're not eligible. But the priority for enforcements are focused on national security problems. So they're giving us a way to file for parole in place with kind of a mini waiver, is what we're going to call it here, as our internal policy and the way we're going to handle it. If somebody has a removal order, we're going to argue the equities for people to get parole in place. Like if somebody has a removal order, like this happened just today, Zayra.
Yes.
We had somebody who was in Texas who had an attorney and didn't know what happened with their case because she lost all her documents. We asked her to call the court, and the court said, you have a removal order. She didn't know. But her husband is a veteran. So we would argue a waiver for the parole in place, and once the parole in place is approved, then we'd go to the court and ask them to terminate. Well, I don't think I think we would. We would ask them to reopen and terminate.
Based on the parole in place.
Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't look like there's that problem that people are worried about that caused people not to move forward in DACA, which is fear that they were going to put themselves on the radar for enforcement. Not going to be an issue. I have been doing this for a very long time, and the current administration is not interested in deporting people who are not violent felons, terrorists, have committed domestic violence. That's a bad one, guys. That's a bad one. Yeah. Probably controlled substance convictions are going to be a problematic thing. So what are you waiting for? I remember when DACA happened and people would come in and say, like this to me, like, I don't have enough money. And I would say, what is it you need? An iPhone? Well, how did you get
Uh-huh.
enough money for that iPhone? I mean, is that iPhone more important than your status? Is that
I
iPhone
know.
going to matter to you 10 years from now when you're a citizen because you move forward with your process? So the money should not be a problem because this process is not that expensive. It's
No, that's what
$11.
I keep telling, yeah, I keep telling the people that I've been in touch with. I was like, this is not something that it's gonna make you go bankrupt. It's a very low investment that you're gonna do to definitely change everything about your process.
Right.
So I was like, who would like give a second thought about doing this process right now. And but
Yeah.
we said yesterday, we hear a lot of comments about people, I'm just gonna wait around and see what happens
Mhm.
after the elections and things like that. Do not wait. Please, like, move forward, do whatever you need to do. Like we say with my family, there's always ways to get the money. Somebody will loan you the money or whatever you need to do, or don't buy your iPhone 15 or 16.
Yeah.
Instead
Right.
invest on this process.
Invest
So
in yourself.
um
Invest in yourself.
exactly,
And
exactly,
and the
because we
government,
hear so.
I think you
Go
hear
ahead.
my ring on my phone. No, the
Yes.
government, I like to say they want you to have skin in the game. That means that they want you to pay something in exchange for this relief, just for because sometimes people aren't invested in a process where
Mm-hmm.
they don't feel like they've paid for it or it's too cheap or too free. We saw that when we were working at the consulate of Mexico.
Yes.
But immigration is an investment in yourself, and that's some one of the reasons to move forward is to invest in yourself. So what are you waiting for? It's opening up for you now to get
Mm-hmm.
this relief if you're married to a U.S. citizen. And we're just not seeing people come through the office yet. We're wondering, what are you waiting for? It's here.
Muy bien, queríamos hablar un poco sobre, obviamente, la gran noticia que ya este lunes podemos solicitar el Parole in Place. Ahora ya tenemos más lineamientos sobre el proceso, en qué consiste, qué se tiene que hacer. Una es de que ya sabemos el número de la solicitud, que es la I-131F. Así que ya está esa solicitud disponible. Entonces queremos platicar un poco hoy sobre qué estás esperando, por qué razón necesitas un abogado, a dónde se tiene que enviar o qué se tiene que enviar. Entonces, primeramente hablamos qué estás esperando. Porque escuchamos muchas personas que dicen, pues voy a ver qué pasa, a ver, cuando se abra, obviamente, esta ventana de solicitar este beneficio, a ver si cuántas personas solicitan, qué va a pasar, o estoy esperando ver qué pasar en las elecciones. Como decimos, es muy importante que tomen partido de esto ahora, no mañana, ni pasado mañana, sino hoy. Es tan importante de que comiencen este proceso que les va a ahorrar mucho tiempo y dinero, porque ya no van a tener que salir del país, ya no van a tener que tener esa preocupación que qué tal me quedo y ya no puedo regresar a este país donde tengo mi vida hecha, mis hijos, etcétera. Entonces, por favor, inviertan, como decimos, en ustedes. Muchas personas dicen, ay, pues ahorita no tengo el dinero, ¿qué voy a hacer? Hay formas siempre de conseguir este tipo de fondos para poder mejorar su situación migratoria en este país que es tan importante. Siempre va a haber alguien que le pueda ayudar a, como quien dice, prestarle el dinero o hacer lo que se tenga que hacer, tal vez pagarlo con una tarjeta, aunque no me gusta usar una tarjeta de crédito, pero lo voy a usar para poder pagar este dinero. Obviamente es tan importante que tomemos partido de este momento, porque por esa razón, como les dije ayer, muchas personas se han quedado sin poder obtener un estatus migratorio porque todo es para mañana, para mañana. Como dice, no dejes de hacer hoy lo que podrías, no dejes para mañana lo que podrías hacer hoy. Entonces, tan importante eso, por eso queríamos platicar con ustedes y recalcar eso, que ahora salieron más información sobre esto, así que queremos seguir informándolos sobre esto.
Okay, so the next question was why you need an attorney. What are you waiting for? Why do you need an attorney? Well, people who are concerned about giving their information to the government or concerned about filing these applications or not understanding the process, that's what we're here for. And we are very reasonably priced for the service that we provide. Most attorneys are. We're here to make sure everything goes right. And, with a big bureaucracy like the USCIS, that can be hard. The USCIS always makes mistakes. And,
always. They're not exempt from not making mistakes. Even though a lot of people think they will never make mistakes, we're the ones at fault. No, they always make mistakes. A lot of them.
Yeah. And we do these cases in volume. And whatever our experience and knowledge base is, we give it to you and we use it to protect you and to make sure things don't happen, your worst fears don't happen. That's what we do. We've been filing parole in place for years. This is a new system. We've got the guidelines. They match other processes we do online. And really, I think the way that the I-131F is being rolled out is great. It's going to give a lot of visibility to both us and our clients. And it's more technology based, and I think it's wonderful. I was worried about filing at the local field office, how that was going to go. But anyway, that's why you need an attorney. Notarios are people who unlawfully practice law. They are not subject to any kind of regulation because there's no way to regulate a criminal. What they're doing by filing things for you because they know how to work technology.
Download a form or know English or
just know how to set up an account. We call that the wrong help. And the wrong help can hurt. And if you go to a notario because they're cheaper than the attorney, you're potentially going to pay 10 times more fixing it. And we know that people come to us. We're the fixers, and it makes things
all the time.
And it becomes so complicated. And most attorneys offer payment plans. We do very reasonable ones. We want you to move forward. And we want you to use an attorney to protect yourself and to make sure your process goes well.
Igualmente, lo importante que queremos mencionar es sobre por qué razón necesitan ustedes ayuda profesional de un abogado. Es muy importante eso de tomar en cuenta porque este proceso va a ser electrónico. Entonces, muchas personas van a decir, pues puedo ir con un notario, él me va a poder hacer el mismo trabajo. No, notarios no son abogados, son personas que obtuvieron una capacitación de 2 horas y le dieron un sello con su nombre y ellos supuestamente solo tienen que confirmar la firma de personas, identificar a personas, eso es lo que ellos bajo la ley deberían hacer. Pero ellos no hacen eso se ponen a hacer otras cosas, practicar la ley ilegalmente. Por favor, tomen mucho esto en cuenta porque este proceso va a ser electrónicamente, que significa que usted va a tener un seguimiento más cerca de este proceso. Así que teníamos un poco de incertidumbre, cómo íbamos a enviar tanta solicitud a la oficina local de la ciudad donde viven, pero eso ya obviamente se nos quitó de encima y ahora lo que vamos a hacer es que este proceso va a ser se va a enviar electrónicamente. Así que es muy importante que por favor ayuden, busquen ayuda profesional, perdón, y busquen un abogado capacitado con experiencia. Nosotros hemos hecho cientos de este tipo de casos, así que sabemos cómo hacer este tipo de procedimientos. Y como lo vuelvo a repetir al principio que mencioné, no se van a tirar a la bancarrota por este procedimiento. Nuestros honorarios son bastante flexibles, son bastante cómodos y también tenemos plan de pago, así que no es como que me voy a quedar sin pagar el alquiler o sin darle comida a mis hijos por hacer este proceso, no, para nada. Pero es muy importante, como le vuelvo a recalcar, que busquen ayuda profesional de un abogado.
Okay, so the next W is when. Monday. For a week or two, the date came down from the website, but when the USCIS sent us all the guidelines this morning, it's clear we're going to start filing on Monday. Yay! And plenty of time for people.
The time has
The time
come.
has come. 550,000 people. 550,000 people are going to be able to exist.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and if you think that you are one of those people, please contact us. We've talked to 100 people at least this past month, and we found that
The announcement, yeah.
95% of those people have been eligible. Okay, how? So this is what I think is really cool. The USCIS has been slowly training us to build up technology skills to file with them.
Mm-hmm.
And the USCIS is requiring these to be filed online. I think that's wonderful. We can file online already asylum applications, I-130 petitions for alien relatives, N-400,
Naturalization.
for naturalization. So anybody who is applying must set up an account with the USCIS. I love it. You know why? Because then you always have access to how your case is doing. And you have to call around and find out. You just go into your account and you can get push notifications by text or emails, and the USCIS will say, okay, we are processing your application, or we have sent you a request for evidence, or we are scheduling an interview. And procedurally, my expectation is everybody will have to do an interview because you must be inspected for the admission. So what I expect is once you submit this online application and your evidence with that application and probably passport photos and a filing fee, then the case will be processed. If the USCIS needs any additional information or if they feel you've not met your burden of proof with you're married to a U.S. citizen as of June 17th, or proving the physical presence that's required, which is 10 years of physical presence since June 17th, 2014, or if they see you have a removal order and they want to know more about that and why should you be given place if you have a removal order. And like the person that we talked to the other day, well, she's married to a veteran, so we would make the case, oh, she's married to a veteran, he did service, that's a positive equity, he needs her in his life. Submit all of that, and RFE might come, request for evidence, and then you won't probably receive an approval. And we'll talk about these things as our cases roll out and we get the results. Probably you'll get an interview. The local field office will ask you to come in and you'll meet with an officer, shake hands, check the ID, and then give you the parole document, which is an I-94 that says you've admitted the U.S. with inspection and you have been paroled in for a period of 3 years. So once you have
one of our clients was asking like, how long is this gonna take? And I was like, well, this is a new process. So, I mean, just going through what we went through with DACA, at first there was like obviously a big wave of applications that came in. So there was obviously delays. So I told him like, We don't know how long it's going to take, but because there's more than 500,000 people who are eligible for this process, I'm sure there's going to be delays, and it's not going to be like a couple of months thing.
Yeah, and do you remember when they were starting through Obama the DACA for parents, DAPA? And,
Yeah,
and
DAPA,
I
DAPA.
believe that President Obama had a facility waiting. They rented a facility and it just went empty because it never happened. I kind of think that's something that they've done
Yeah.
here, probably. I mean, more information will come out quickly. I'm just hoping that with the 9 million cases that the USCIS already has, they have a plan for these 550,000 to make it efficient.
Yeah. And I think that's the reason why they obviously made this electronically,
Hmm.
because it's something that they can just look, okay, everything looks good. Let's see, like, what else do we need, kind of
Yeah,
thing, instead of like going through papers and stuff like that. And like we can thank that to the
right.
pandemic, when because that's how they started like doing
Hmm.
online, and then getting text and email updates, because of since that time, before we wouldn't be able to do that
And with
stuff. So I think that's one of the
yeah,
things
and with
too.
the technology now, they have character recognition technology, so the systems can probably read the evidence and be able to quickly ship them into the years or whatever. Yeah,
Exactly.
I agree. And
Hmm.
so hopefully that'll keep it on the current processing time for parole. What we experience for military spouses is 3 to 4 months, and
Yeah, that
yeah,
would
it'd
be
be great. And
perfect.
then when you file the I-130 and the I-45, it doesn't matter if your I-130 is already approved. It's really the I-45 that takes the time. So if you're
Hmm.
filing with an approved I-130 or you're filing the I-130 with the adjustment, either way, I'm expecting 8 to 12 months for that. So what I've been telling people is that they can expect, hopefully, to be in green card status by this time next year, maybe fall of next year, 2025. And then the work authorization, I'm recommending they go for the work authorization through parole in place, which they'll have the option for right away when they receive the parole in place document. Um, they're allowed to apply for work authorization with the parole in place document. And a lot of people may wait and apply for work authorization when they file the adjustment of status, which is fine. You can do that too. But I think
Hmm.
filing with the parole in place is the better way. And that this is actually a topic of discussion.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
definitely.
mean we've been talking about this a lot in our office because you now have to pay individually for work authorization. Prior to April 1st, 2024,
Yeah,
the work authorization was automatically included in an adjustment of status.
part of the filing.
So now that
Hmm.
the USCIS has broken up the fees, the adjustment of status has its own fee, the work authorization has its own fee, the advanced parole, if you're going to apply for that, has its own fee. So what I'm saying, let's just go for the parole work authorization. We might change our position on that as we have to move forward with this
Hmm.
process.
Hmm. Sí, entonces, otra de las cosas es de que, ¿cómo vamos a enviar esa solicitud? Como dijimos, ya este lunes por fin se llegó el día, de poder solicitar este beneficio, el I-131F. Como les mencioné antes, va a ser electrónicamente, así que ese es un gran beneficio, porque sabemos que esto va, digamos, que agilizar todo el proceso, que obviamente sería más lento si hacemos por, directamente una oficina, y obviamente documentos físicos, no electrónicos. Entonces, por ejemplo, vamos a poder hacerlo en línea, vamos a poder enviar todo ahí, fotos de pasaporte, etcétera. Vamos a crear nuestra propia, perfil en la Oficina de Inmigración USCIS, por sus siglas en inglés, y eso va a ser un gran beneficio para todos, porque usted directamente va a tener acceso a este tipo de información. Ya me llevó el recibo, dice que me pidieron pruebas adicionales, ya tengo la cita para ver a un oficial, porque la cita sí va a ser algo que sabemos que va a ser un hecho, porque obviamente cuando la persona sea entrevistada y admitida, como quien dice, tengo esta entrada legal al país, entonces obviamente lo vamos a hacer. Una de las cosas también vamos a exhortar que las personas para poder hacer toda esta información, que todo va a ser electrónicamente y usted tiene que obviamente crear un perfil, saber la contraseña, el correo electrónico, etcétera. Obviamente nosotros los vamos a ayudar con eso, y vamos si tienen alguna pregunta o qué se tiene que hacer, etcétera, por favor, comuníquese con nosotros y nosotros con mucho gusto lo vamos a seguir informando más sobre ello. Una de las cosas, como le dije, van a ser las cuotas de proceso de inmigración para el proceso del Parole in Place, la I-131F y el permiso de trabajo. Los mantenemos al tanto de esa información también, pero como dijimos, es como, ¿qué están esperando? ¿Por qué razón usted necesita ayuda profesional? ¿Qué es lo que tengo que hacer y cómo? Entonces, por eso queremos recalcar este tipo de información para que usted esté al día con esta información y sepa qué es lo que tiene que hacer.
So these are the updates for today. We'll be bringing you updates every day as this rolls out, because it will evolve, as all processes do when they're introduced. And it will be our pleasure to tell you about it and also talk about other processes next week. So have a great weekend, and thank you everybody from La Gringa. Have a great weekend.
Gracias, que tengan buen fin de semana y lo seguiremos actualizando con esta información. Estén pendientes, gracias. Déjenos sus comentarios, sus preguntas. Se despide de ustedes, Zayra Ivette Padilla, la Chapina.
Ciao.
Chao.